That's a lovely piece of music. For the beauty of the earth, for the splendor of the skies, for the love which from our birth over and about around us lies, source of all, to Thee we raise this our hymn of grateful praise. It's a hymn we'll find it in our hymnal. It's by Folliott Sanford Pierpoint. And if you listen, it's a prayer of gratitude for this planet that birthed and sustains us. How often do we look out at the plants, the soil, the sky, and sing a song of grateful praise? How often do we really look out at nature and allow ourselves to be struck by the idea of reverence for life, as Schweitzer experienced traveling down a river in Africa? How often do we review how we live out our commitment to heal our planet and renew life upon it? Have we thought about our seventh principle and how we express it in our daily lives and our daily interactions? You know, when I talk with many Unitarian Universalists around the country, and if you ask someone who's a Unitarian Universalist to talk about what their theology is, often you will hear it's about reverence for life. Our Unitarian Universalist seventh principle calls us to this: respect for the interdependent web of all existence of which we are a part. It's part of why we embrace this idea of the sacredness of all life and our planet and work for ecological justice. And honestly, those words, reverence for life, are really beautiful words. But what do they mean? What do they mean to you? Schweitzer wrote, "Reverence for life means being seized by the unfathomable, forward-moving will which is inherent in all being. It raises us above the perception of the world of objects and makes us into the tree that is safe from drought because it is planted by the water." Think about that image for a moment. It's an interesting image. And we could use that image as a personal meditation on nature if we chose to. We could use other images as well. I mean, one image that really speaks to me is one I experienced years ago, is seeing a hummingbird near a trumpet creeper drinking the rich nectar from the bright red flowers. Such a reverence for life connects us with something ineffable and sustainable, a holy connection that is intangible, yet even so, it affects our behavior. And I use that word holy. I know I've used it a lot today, but I use it intentionally. You see, I really embraced it. When I was talking with Reverend Michael Malone, the executive director of the People's Justice Council, he invited this congregation to help energize the southeastern United States for energy justice through the Southeast Climate and Energy Network and the Southeast Faith and Energy Network. He describes helping people of color and the poor to make their homes more energy efficient. He said this. He said it is his holy work to caulk people's windows, to install energy-efficient shower heads, to add insulation to their homes. And you might say, well, what makes it holy? It just seems like that's practical. That's what people should be doing. And Michael experiences work that he does as life-saving. Not life-saving in the sense of, saving for an afterlife, but of saving people right now, here and now in the moment. When you do that kind of work for people, it puts more money in their pockets. Their homes will stay warmer in winter and cooler in summer with less energy. And they'll need less water. What he wants to do is to literally help them to survive. His work expresses his reverence for life, reducing the strain on our planet and expressing love and compassion for his fellow human beings. Schweitzer also wrote, "Reverence for life contains within itself the rationale of the commitment to love, and it calls us for compassion for all life." He goes on to say, "I must interpret the life around me as I interpret my own life. My life is full of meaning for me. The life around me must be full of significance to itself. If I am to expect others to respect my life, then I must respect the life that I see all around me, however strange it might be to mine. And not just human life, all kinds of life. We need a boundless ethic which will include all living things." The image you're about to see, there it is the gardens at Lambarene Hospital, now called Hospital Albert Schweitzer in French Equatorial Africa. This is the hospital that Schweitzer established. And this is near the guest houses and the hospital complex. Schweitzer did not like gardens where flowers are grown for the adornment of the house. He believed that to cut a flower needlessly was a violation of his fundamental ethical principle of reverence for life. The flower, like the flower you see before you, he believed had the same right that we have to fulfill its natural life cycle. He respected its life and he let it grow. Now, some of you have been participating with us in the Indigenous Peoples History of the United States study group. And last time we met, Dina Gilio Whitaker mentioned the international movement for the rights of nature. In other words, giving legal rights to aspects of nature. Rivers, trees, mountains would have rights just as human beings have rights. Well, we've certainly seen the Supreme Court offer rights to corporations. Why not to nature? There's a global network out there, a number of them, committed to supporting legal systems that respect, recognize, and enforce rights of nature. Jonathan Porritt, one of the United Kingdom's leading environmentalists, said Ecuador was the first nation to include the rights of nature in its constitution. It could now become the first nation to protect large swaths of biodiversity based upon its constitutional innovation. This could set an invaluable constitutional precedent worldwide. This person you see on the slide is one of the indigenous people from Ecuador. They were instrumental in this constitutional change. And this person in particular is Ni Moan Te, Ni Ki Mo. She is a Waroon leader and president of the Coordinating Council of the Waroon Nationality of Ecuador, Pastasa. And she is one of the co-founding members of CIBO, the CIBO Alliance, which brought together 4 different ethnic groups to work on Ecuador's rights of nature constitutional change. Rights of nature is about balancing what is good for human beings against what is good for other species and what is good for our planet. It is the holistic recognition that all life, all ecosystems on our planet are deeply intertwined. Over Schweitzer's life, his ethic of reverence for life continued to expand. He came to view good and evil through the lens of reverence for life. And he even wrote a letter to one of his close friends that said, "The essence of goodness is to preserve life, promote life, help life to achieve its highest destiny. And the essence of evil is destroy life, harm life, hamper life, and the development of life." So as a Cold War broke out, Schweitzer, now an old man, saw the essence of evil as he defined it in atomic weapons. He believed war and atomic weapons were a threat to reverence for life. And the only purpose of atomic weapons was to harm life in all of its forms. He became so incensed by these weapons of mass destruction that he wrote President Kennedy on April 20th, 1962. Schweitzer suggested to President Kennedy that there should be an international agreement for disarmament, and Schweitzer felt that this commission would end the Cold War and give each country the right to know, through international inspection of each other's territory, that each country meets its obligations to disarm according to the agreement. The same international control will see to it that no tests of atomic weapons would be carried out. Schweitzer, his determination, helped stop proliferation of atomic weapons. And that spirit is still alive today, some 60 plus years after his struggles, as we fight in some form or fashion to work for disarmament and proliferation, particularly right now in Iraq and Korea. Schweitzer, this idea of reverence for life, it grew from that small boy who didn't want to hurt the birds, who experienced that as life-changing, a profound childhood experience that led to him through his entire life to become an activist for reverence for life and for peace and disarmament. So I come back to us now, to here and now, me, you, our congregation, and our commitment to reverence for life, for healing the planet, renewing all life upon it. Schweitzer, Reverend Michael Malcolm, the government of Ecuador, well, all of them embody different aspects of what the commitment to reverence for life is. Each person's understanding of reverence for life and resulting commitment evolved over a lifetime, shaped by their own personal growth and the circumstances that they find themselves in. Same is true for Unitarian Universalists and how we approach reverence for life. The Unitarian Universalist Association promotes the 7th Principal Project Green Sanctuary Certification Program to support congregations in maximizing their impact on environmental changes. How this work is done varies widely among congregations across our country. Back many years ago when I was an intern at Emerson Unitarian Church in Houston, Texas, the congregation decided they wanted to get involved in this Green Sanctuary Certification Program. And so they decided to start with developing an environmental justice covenant group. Now, a covenant group is like a small group of people who get together on a regular basis and get to know each other. Well, this group did that too. I mean, they got together regularly, they ate together, developed friendships together, but they added a twist to it. They read about environmental justice, they talked about environmental justice, and over time began to make tangible commitments to environmental justice. So as it came about, Emerson decided to do this big project to a new building that they were going to add on to the sanctuary. And the Environmental Justice Covenant Group lobbied hard to keep the beautiful trees on the property and so that the new building would be ecologically friendly, considering ways to reduce energy usage, building a structure that would have the least impact on the property. And all the members of this group made personal commitments to be ecologically conscious. For example, some of them elected to purchase their electricity from Green Mountain Energy, which is an energy company that powers their energy through windmills in Texas. The group also worked on a preservation for the Gulf Coast Ridley sea turtles through letter writing and advocacy. And they did one more thing which was very interesting. They provided a monthly meditation centered on our 7th principle, the web of life, and that spiritual connection to nature. And they put it on their Emerson website so that people could reflect on it. As Unitarian Universalists, we are called, at least I believe we are all called, to live out our reverence for life. The Unitarian Universalist Ministry for the Earth says this work is about respecting life, restoring the earth, and renewing our spirits. My friends, I do believe this is holy work, work for the soul as well as for the planet. How we each live that out will vary from person to person and congregation to congregation. Some of us will let our pristine lawns and ornamental gardens grow wild. I actually knew someone who did this. He stopped using pesticides, and he said to the homeowners association he wasn't going to mow his lawn anymore because it had wildflowers in it. Now, they got him in a little trouble, but he held his ground and said, this is important to our environment. This is important to our earth, and I'm not going to mow these wildflowers down. Some of us might aid a bird with a broken wing or participate in a community cleanup of a waterway. You know, there are many Unitarian Universalist congregations across the country now that are adopting waterways or portions of waterways and keeping them clean. Some of us might choose to eat food that's sustainably and mindfully sourced. Not all of us, really probably not many of us, can be a modern-day Albert Schweitzer. with that kind of commitment to Reverence for Life. But I think we can keep at the forefront of our mind our planet. Consider our actions, our every action through the lens of Reverence for Life. There's a proverb from the Malagasy tribe of Africa which says, "Words are like newly hatched eggs. They already have wings." Let this idea of reverence for life, these words, be more than mere words as you leave here today. May these newly hatched words spread wings in your heart and through your hands as you live in the world. So may it be.